Hi, John Taylor here, founder, managing partner, Stanton Park Capital, also best-selling author of Maximize Your Multiple, The Business Owner's Guide to the Institutional Money Deal. And what I want to talk again, in my last video, I talked about what I thought the biggest mistake business owners make when it comes to selling their business, and that was not building a large enough company. If you want to learn more about that, you can watch that video. What I want to talk in this video is another big mistake, a very significant. I listed as number two, but even though these are not, I have kind of 19 biggest mistakes business owners make, although they're not necessarily in any particular order. But this is another very common mistake that business owners make, and that is too much customer concentration, or making a mistake with having a problem with a customer during a sale process. So customer concentration means that you're too heavily dependent on a single customer. In several different types of businesses, it's very common that a customer might make up 30, 40, 50% or more of your sales, right? So if you're a manufacturer selling to a large company like Walmart or Home Depot, right? Or, for example, if you have you're a supplier to General Motors or very, Apple Computer, right, or a very large business. That customer, if it's a very large Fortune 100 type business, they could become a much larger part of your business than you might want, but which is good in a lot of ways, because it's great to have a lot of sales to a big well-known company, but those companies are very good at squeezing smaller manufacturers. They're very good at that. They're very skilled. That's how they stay in business so long and are as profitable as they are. So this happens quite often, where a business, they become overly reliant. They sort of feel like they have a strong relationship with this one particular customer, and then they get blindsided when they say, hey, we're gonna, that big company, they have lots of different, Fortune 100 companies, they have these different types of restructuring programs where they try to quote unquote rationalize their vendor base, and they go back and they ask their vendors for price concessions, and rather than having 10 suppliers, they want to go down to 5 or go down to 4 or 3, right? So and they have to cut certain vendors or suppliers, and when that happens, it's a huge problem, because you could lose 20, 30, 40% of your business overnight, and it may be what might seem like a whim, right? It's you don't necessarily are aware of it ahead of time. So this can blindside a lot of businesses, and particularly when this is why institutional investors, more sophisticated type business buyers, they look at this customer concentration issue very carefully. And a lot of times for private equity firms, in their limited partner agreements, they have a part of that, or sort of covenants that say they won't invest in a business that has more than, say, 40 or 50% customer concentration. So it's an important point. It can be a big risk factor for a business, and is an indication that the business could have a big problem in the future if there's any kind of hiccup. So that also, and if that happens during a sale process, if you lose that major customer, you might have to wait a year or two and recover the business before you can go to market again, because that can be very devastating to the valuation of a company, to lose that kind of sales volume, practically overnight. I've seen it happen. In many cases, businesses have to file bankruptcy. People that have been in business 20, 30, 40 years. A big customer goes belly up on them, or maybe they have a large receivable and with a large customer, and that company goes into bankruptcy, and they've got a say like a $2 or $3 million receivable or more. That money's gone, and that can be very devastating. So that is something that business owners need to be aware of, and working to diversify your customer base. It's good to have big, large, Fortune 100, Fortune 5000 type businesses, but maybe try to get a second or third, so you've got several customers in your wheelhouse, and people that you're servicing, so you don't become overly reliant on them. And if there is some problem, you've got other people that you can sell product to and service. So again, you can read about this in my book, Maximize Your Multiple. I'll leave some links below about that. And of course, at Stanton Park, we're always here to work with small, medium-sized business owners that are looking to sell their businesses or maximize the value of their businesses. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.